and this will be a Colombia vlog number 3. Uno, dos, tres. And in this one, I'm talking about Maat. But don't forget to hit the like button if this is your first time to my channel. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications of when I upload recorded videos. So let's get into this. As you can see, I'm at the airport and taking a flight, waiting for a flight to Panama. But that'll be interesting. But on the way here, when I woke up this morning, it was rainy. I mean, really, really bad. And I thought, wow, is my plane going to be delayed or okay, or what's going to happen? So it looks like everything's on time, which is really good. So I went over a couple of observations that I had here while I was in Cartagena, Colombia. So the first off is that the women were very beautiful, very, very beautiful women. And the reason why I bring that up is to say this. I went to an area, the Watchtower, where there are a lot of work girls. And they just stand around, and I guess guys come in and talk to them and select the ones they want. And there are also clubs like that too as well. Now I'm going to jump ahead to my Uber ride coming to the airport, where it was raining real hard. And I saw a gentleman in the rain selling candy. And I said to myself, like, how bad is it that you're selling candy in the rain? So he passed the car, and immediately I thought to take out some, there was some cash I didn't spend, and I wanted to give it to him, but I wasn't able to because a light turned green and my car started to go. And I felt really bad because I wanted to give him that cash because, I mean, anytime somebody's trying to sell something in the rain, to me that's a sign that they're in a pretty bad situation. And I want you to understand that a lot of third world countries are in that situation where their economy has collapsed, especially because of COVID. So you have people trying to just find a way to make a living, sell what they can, And I try to, because, in America we have so much abundance. That's Maat. There's abundance, Maat is truth, justice, righteousness. And I'm going to get into that. We have so much abundance that we have to learn to share. So we're in a situation visiting these other countries, especially like Brazil or Colombia or the Dominican Republic or Cuba. Remember, these are our family. They are Afro-Cubans, Afro-Colombians, and so on. You've heard me talk about this before. Treat them as family. So when I go into neighborhoods and I see how dilapidated they are and the conditions that some of them, not all of them, but some of them live in, it really just, it gets me upset at European colonialism has done. You've got to remember that there are jackals that have gone in, paid by our country, America, to go into these countries and wreck economies and remove the democratically elected leader to put in place a puppet leader that would do the bidding of the United States. In order to remain a world power, the United States has to make sure that every other country does not have the potential to rise to be a world power. So it has to make sure that the economic situation, that the majority of the populace in the country are in dire strait. So when I look at the condition, it just makes me mad at what colonial has done, the missionaries have done. It's a terrible situation. And we in our country have so much abundance that we don't even realize it. And we need to start to realize it and understand that there are people who can't even buy a stick of gum. You know what I mean? So when going back to the working girls, and most of them were very, very pretty. Well, all of them were actually. They weren't, I didn't see one overweight, obese one. So the women here are doing something right, in terms of their diet, exercise. But I'm literally saw like a lot of women and not one was overweight. Or as we call it, thick. And I went and talked to one young lady. The reason why I talked to her because I saw her, she passed me, and she had a tattoo on her left arm of a baby. I went up there and I talked to her because I wanted to know like if she had a baby. Because I mean that's the only reason we have a tattoo there. Last time I talked to a working girl who had a tattoo, it was of her sister who had passed away, and I told that before, so you can go check that video out. So I'm talking to this young woman. It was so cute because I said, I'm from America. She goes, I'm Colombian. I'm like, yeah, of course, we're in Colombia. And it was a very limited conversation because, the language barrier. But I said, my God, if she has a son, wow. It's just wow. But here's the thing. This is Maat, and many people don't understand Maat. A lot of people don't even understand Maat. Ma'at is not about an objective truth. Ma'at is about the measurement, which was the truth. When we see these girls working and doing what they're doing, I don't pass judgment because I know that they're in a place where there is so limited in terms of opportunity. Listen, let me tell you something. In the United States, a woman could be a stripper and go to college and then get a degree. And that's fantastic. She can go to college and make probably around $500 a day stripping. Do you know what $500 a day here? That would really transform a young girl's life. But so anyway, when you see these girls, I don't pass judgment because I know the situation that they're in. The thing that people don't understand about Ma'at, they will say, well, no, it's just, prostitution is bad. It's horrible. It's not good for anyone. And I'm like, well, let me give you an example of this. And it's one that I face when I'm traveling. I am a vegan, but there are a lot of I'll go to that just do not serve, they don't have a vegan or a vegetarian menu. And I was starving one day, and I had to eat, I think it was like a frosted muffin or something. And I know that muffin had milk in it. So here's a scenario. If all the plants on the earth died, and there was just one cow, and you're a vegan, would you eat that cow to survive? And because we're so caught up in scriptures, religious dogma, we would actually say, no, I would not eat that cow. Or if it was a pig. Because Muslims and Christians are not for that eating of pork. Well, Christians do. The ones I know eat the pork. But Ma'at and Tahuti is the measure, Ma'at is the law, would tell us that you are justified in eating that cow if it means that you will survive. And let me take it a step further. Let's look at the Native Americans. When they would slay the buffaloes, there would be an agreement a spiritual agreement between themselves and the buffalo. And that the buffaloes would give their life so that the Native Americans could live. And they thanked the spirit of the buffalo for doing that. So there was a very sacred and spiritual agreement there. Not like these slaughterhouses. And I cannot stand eating meat. It's just something I'm very, very against. Really, really against. But if it came down to it, and the only thing that was available to eat is that cow or that pig, I'm eating them to survive. So going back to the situation with the working girls, it's like you're going to have to do what you have to do to survive, to live. Now, I'm not saying if what they're doing is right or wrong, but I'm just letting you know that according to Maat, Maat looks at the context of the situation to then state a rule or a law. Maat is not an objective truth that has to be passed against everybody. This is why the Bible is so screwed up, because you have the Ten Commandments saying, thou shalt not kill. That is an absolute rule. There's no measurement there, like should you kill for self-defense? You know, should you kill to save your own life or to save the life of your family? I mean, it's ridiculous that it just has this blanket rule, and left-brain people will take that as it's written in stone, which it actually is, and don't know how to really apply that, because they don't understand the thinking that we get from our ancient Chinese Nak ancestors, which is called the Tao. What is the Tao? The Tao, you cannot know the Tao. The Tao changes. It is the way. The truth is a measurement of your situation. If you are starving, even though it says thou shalt not steal, and you go into a grocery store and you steal some food to feed your family, should we crucify you? Should we put you in jail? No, that means what it is that we have failed as a society to take care of you. Because in Africa, it took a village to raise a child. We understood that we were a community. And by being a community, we didn't leave anybody out in the cold. So I'm telling you, like when I'm looking at those young women, I'm saying the system has failed them. So they are exploring or resorting to options that normally they should not have to. And I'm going to take this a little bit deeper. Let's get deeper. A subject that I think about too. When you incarcerate a massive group of people, black men, and you put them in prison, and they have no exposure to women, or no way to exercise their sexual cravings, because it's natural. You're going to want to mate. You're going to want a woman. You're going to want to pair bond. When you remove that, then it gets, as we say, used in perverted ways that are not natural and shouldn't be, such as prison rape, male rape, which should not happen, but you have put these men in such an extraordinary situation that they start to act out deviant ways that they wouldn't under the right normal circumstances, where they will be in the population and have access to women that they could mate with. So I want you to understand that, the world is in shambles, and there's this dogmatic view on things that have corrupted and messed up things. In ancient cultures, working girls were spiritual women who had a purpose and place, both in Africa, in Chinese culture. So research that, you'll see it. And it was in Japanese had it too, it was a spiritual thing. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, consult the I Ching and consult your oracle about what I'm saying. You'll find out what I'm espousing truth. Okay? So it wasn't just you're hiring a woman for sexual pleasure, it was a spiritual arrangement to meet certain circumstances or needs that you had. This is why we made sure that we had polygamy, because the men would go off to war, get killed, there would be a shortage of men, so the women would marry a man who was in a position to take care of more than one woman. And that's how polygamy came about. It wasn't that men just wanted to have many wives, as feminists will tell you. It came out of the need of a shortage of men. So men who did survive would take on 2 or 3 wives. So it's the same way when a man, an arranged marriage, the man would have to present a dowry to the woman and her family to show that he was financially able to take care of her. Otherwise, the marriage would not proceed. So I want you to understand that this Western culture, this Western religion, I'm so bad. Western culture and Western religion has screwed up our thinking to the point of where, and the Christians really, I heard this woman talking this morning, and she goes, the scripture says, I'm like, you're not dumb. You're not an idiot. You have a brain. You don't need a book to tell you right and wrong. You have the faculty of Tahutianness inside of you. Hola, you Colombian? Colombian?
Okay.
Colombian. From here? From here? Oh, so sorry. But I like your hair. It's nice. Anyway. What was I saying? Yeah. So the scripture says this, the scripture says that. I said, well, does the scripture tell you to take a piss too? Do you need somebody to tell you when to take a piss? I mean, it gets really ridiculous when you have to be told what is right, what is wrong, what you should do, and what you shouldn't do. I can go and see a pig and how it lives and say, I don't want to eat that animal. Y'all ever seen a hippopotamus? How dangerous they could be? They were feared in ancient Kemet. But go look at how they live. It's very filthy. So what I'm saying to you, you can observe things and you know what's not right, We had customs in Africa where a woman, or I'm sorry, a woman couldn't have a male visitor after a certain time, like 6 p.m. And that was, even though it may have been a friendship, but that was done so that nothing would happen. Because we knew that, your attraction factor, the head rule within you, can spike, can get going, and you can lose control and commit adultery. So to prevent that, we had culture that said, you can't visit the woman's house after 6. So, but we didn't have a book to tell us that. There was no scripture that we could refer to tell us that. Because innately we had something within us, Tahuti, to give us wisdom and guidance in life. We had a civilization that lasted for over 10,000 years. And most Egyptologists and archaeologists will admit that the culture of Kemet, Egypt, was one of the most moral cultures on the planet. Research the Greek and Roman culture, how rampant homosexuality was in terms of taking suitors who were underage, raping people. These leaders, these Caesars, were sick. If they just didn't like you, they would come and cut your head off and have sex with your dead body. They were sick. But we in Africa didn't need anything to tell us that, those things are wrong. Killing is wrong. Raping someone is wrong. We knew that. No one had to write it down. So I hope I make this clear. So keep this in mind. I got a flight to catch. Thank you for tuning in to this quick vlog. And this is Kasank Maat Keperus for the Maat and Tahuti. Maat is the beautiful God inside the roof. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.